Tonight is our first open house, and as such, tonight you're really going to just get me coming to you from my home in what I consider paradise here in New Bern, North Carolina. And so you're going to get my perspective on things. The future open houses that we do, you're going to hear from lots of other people in our community, but tonight you're just going to hear from me. And it will be an overview of sorts, not a classic presentation. I don't do those anyway. I'm going to touch on why this is important in general, what's available here for you. And then I'm going to talk a little bit and only a little bit about who am I and why I do this and how I might serve you. Then I'm going to talk quite a bit about who is Life Plus and why they do this and provide this for us. And why are you just hearing about us now? And then I'm going to talk about what I call our menu or what would be your menu, so to speak. So before I go into anything, just a few things to kind of set the stage a little bit. First, there's no pitch. I don't pitch. I don't believe in pitches. And certainly there's no hype. I mean, hype is generally necessary when you just have sizzle and you don't have much steak, so to speak. We're pretty much all steak. And really, when you have something that's this good, you don't need to hype it. You only do a disservice when you hype things. There's too much of that in our culture. Certainly, there's never any pressure associated with our community, ever. Pressure is a selfish act. If someone ever pressures you in any environment, that means they're trying to get you to do something because they want you to do it, which has nothing to do with you, does it? And so I don't believe in pressure. I never have, and I never will. And I don't condone it. I think it's disrespectful. We build our community on kindness, caring, integrity, respect, and we tend to attract the same because there really isn't. There's no space in our community, nor is there anything to have someone who doesn't operate that way even want to play with, so to speak. And then, of course, the foundation of our community is helping others as the means to help self. And so all we do is open doors that can lead someone to a better life. And we serve the people that walk through those doors. That's pretty much the way we do it. And we are simply a community that is built on relationships and helping one another, not on transactions. So everything I talk about tonight, you can get details to support everything I touch upon and dive as deep as you would like, because this is about insights and discovery. That's really what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. So why is this so important and what's here for you? Well, first, why is it so important? So again, I mentioned, and I'll say it multiple times tonight, we're about helping people. And man, in the United States, there's a lot of people that need help. I mean, that's just the truth of it. It's an unfortunate truth, but it is the way it is. And so I like to refer to it as the need. The need is great. Right? Our communities, our neighborhoods, our towns, our cities, all across the country, they're riddled with health problems. They're riddled with relationship problems. They're riddled with financial problems. I mean, it's just everywhere. There's no community that's immune to at least one or two of those things. And so if you think about it kind of categorically, health-wise, the state of physical health in our country is scary. It's really scary. If you look at it from an economic perspective, it's terrifying. And if you really look at it from a human perspective, it's sad. I mean, it's really sad that so many people's quality of life, it deteriorates to such a degree at a relatively young age. And so much of it is preventable. You know, there's what's called the four horsemen that are dominating health in our country. Those four horsemen are heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, and diabetes. And all four of those things are largely preventable if we take action consistently and sooner in life. Fortunately, many of them can be somewhat reversed if they're not too far along, but we're not going to talk about that. That's out of the purview of what we're speaking about tonight. So the state of physical health in general is horrible. And that I mentioned the big things, but what about the everyday fatigue and the nagging issues that affect someone's entire being and the way they show up everywhere? And make no mistake, your health is in everything you ever do. There is nothing that you do in your life where your health isn't a factor. And then you couple that with the mental health issue, which is also rising dramatically. Mental health issues are significantly on the rise. There's a lot of reasons for that, but one of them is the connection to physical health. When people don't feel well physically, it gets into your mind. I mean, that's a I hate to say it's a no-brainer, but that's what it is. And so the state of physical health, there are so many people around us silently struggling. It's not something that's talked about enough, right? Because who wants to, walk around and be wearing what's going on with themselves? And then you have the issue of relationships and community. Everybody needs positive relationships. Everybody needs encouragement. Everybody needs a listening ear. Everybody needs support. Everybody needs a safe place to grow. And there are not enough of them right now in our culture. And if you flip that, the amount of divisiveness, we need more unity. The issues of disrespect, we need people who lift us up, respect us for who we are. And certainly most people struggle with having enough time with the people that matter to them. And then you have the career or the money financial issues, which many people think those are the worst, right? Because they create additional stress. I would submit to you, while they are the worst, you can recover from a financial crisis. Often you can't recover from a health crisis. Often you don't recover from a relationship crisis. But we have issues of the majority of our population is just barely living paycheck to paycheck. They've got tons of debt. They're struggling with inflation. They're not fulfilled in their job. 70% of the population is not fulfilled in their job, does not find joy in their job. That's, if you think about that, right? If you really think about how hard that is on a human being, when 70% of the population is spending their working life doing something they'd rather not be doing, that's not a good thing. That's not a way to live. And so most people lack skills in the very areas of competency that allow them to flourish in life: interpersonal skills, productivity skills. And they show up in a workplace and they feel daunted because they don't feel good enough, when in fact they're good enough. They just haven't had the right input to be what they can be. And so every one of those areas, we help people flourish in. That's what we do. And unfortunately, in many of these situations, without a helping hand or some encouragement or some insight or some perspective or some support, people feel hopeless. And hopelessness is a terrible place to be. And I imagine there isn't anyone watching tonight or who will watch this recording who doesn't know what hopelessness feels like. You felt it before. It's terrible. It's awful. And it's unnecessary. And so we all have the opportunity to help this. And this is what our community does. I mean, this is why it's so important, the work that we do. So what's here for you? Well, this list, I could ask you questions for the next 20 minutes for you to process, but I'll put it in kind of simple context, right? What would you like to improve? Really, if you think about your life, what would you like to improve? What are you accepting in your life that you don't have to, right? That you actually could take steps to improve? Or what would you like to do that you can't do right now, or that you aren't doing right now? Wouldn't that be a good thing? So the reality is, what's here for you is up to you. Right? It's up to you what's here for you. We as a community and myself, we support whatever it is you're trying to make happen. That's how we're built. That's what we're designed. And you'll understand a little bit more when I share a little bit about my perspective and from my why I'm here. But I understand that might bring the question of, well, why would you do that? Why would you bother to help me, right? And I get that, because that's not normal. Right? I mean, it's not normal. But just because it's not normal doesn't mean it shouldn't be. It should be normal. it should be normal that people show up to help one another without a handout. That should be a normal thing. That's just my belief, and I live on that belief. So I know not everybody practices that, but you know what? A little at a time. The bottom line is nothing, and I mean nothing, feels better than helping someone else do better. Nothing. I know, I've been living it for a long, long time. There's nothing, and no amount of money, no accolades, no status, no power. I shouldn't say power. Some people are power hungry. It's not sustainable, by the way, but they are. They, sooner or later, though, they sort of get what's coming, but that's beside the point. All right, so let me jump into a little bit about who am I, why I do this, and how I might serve you in this venture. So, my story, and like everything I'm going to share tonight, things that are already well documented, if you want, can discover those. We can provide access to where you find those things. But so my story is well documented in many, many places. It's well documented in books. It's well documented on the internet. It's well documented in videos. It's not hard to find my story. But just to give you a tiny bit of it for the sake of tonight, in case you're brand new to our community and certainly brand new to me. I met this company in March of 1996, and I fell in love immediately with the integrity. It was the fairest, most honest thing I'd ever seen as a business person. And the quality of what they were producing was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. And really, when I looked at what they were doing, I understood that this completely fit my values, and they were operating in a way that fit my values, because I believe, and I've proven it, and so have many of my clients over the years proven it, that if you take care of your health first, physical, mental, and your developmental, and then if you will pour that into your relationships, your personal ones, yes, your closest family, of course, but also their community, your business, etc., then the rest of what you do will be just fine. And again, I've lived it, so I know it to be true. But a little bit about who I am. Some people say I'm an author. Some people say I'm a businessman. Some people say, if they don't know me, they might call me a salesman. I'm just a teacher. That's what I am, plain and simple. I'm a teacher. Nothing lights me up more than teaching. And this is the greatest classroom in the world to me. And so I just love to serve this classroom. A little bit more on that in a moment. But really, through meeting Life Plus and all that happened for me as a human being, as I grew and developed, as I worked and developed my community that went around the world, I mentored, I trained, I coached, and it created all these new opportunities. And I ended up coaching and training many different kinds of companies around the world, and coaching many kinds of people in many different fields. And as a result of living in the way that I mentioned, health, relationships, and then work, and now for me, purpose. I mean, this isn't work for me, it's purpose. I've been so blessed because I started with nothing. I mean, nothing. I had nothing when I was young. I had nothing when I was in my 30s. But I've lived an extraordinary life, and it's all got its roots in this. And so nothing brings me more joy than to help others achieve whatever fruit they're trying to achieve. And it's my personal mission to spread this across the United States, because it's the single best thing I know. And I know about a lot of things. I don't know everything, because nobody does. As a matter of fact, the older you get, the more you realize how little you actually know. But I know about a lot of stuff. And so why I do this is simple, because I love to help people. And everything that I've done in my career in the past 30 years has been about helping people to do better. And it has been through those three areas. But this is the one place, the one community where I can serve all of that at once. And so that's why I'm here. That's my purpose. That's my cause. That's why I show up. And how I serve you is you get my knowledge, you get my support, you get my care, you get my time. And you get what other companies have paid me handsomely to deliver to their leadership over the years. I can help you grow to be the best version of yourself. It's what I do. Right? I don't do the work, you do the work, but I provide you with the equipping. I provide you with the knowledge. I provide you with the questions that you might try to answer. And I support you in that. Right now, I can't do it for every single person. I do as much as I can. But to me, one of the greatest sadnesses in the world is that most people have no idea what they're capable of. They've been so pushed down in their life and told what they're not, that they think they need to be somebody different to do something, when in fact, everybody is perfectly made. Everybody is unique. Everybody has their own DNA and their own set of skills and affinities and talents and gifts and strengths and desires and interests and experiences. You're uniquely made. There's no ceiling for you as long as you're you and you learn to develop you to be the best version of you possible. Because the more you grow, the more you can see. And the more you can see, the more impact you can make. And I'm a firm believer that we are not just here on the planet to consume a bunch of stuff. We are here to make our own unique contribution. And we can only do that by being our best self. And that is why I'm here. And that's what you get from me in this community, for what that's worth. All right. I mean, I'm just a regular guy, but the stuff I teach and do works. Right. And so I can help if you want to put hands and feet to making yourself better. So that brings me to who is Life Plus and why they do this. And then why have you never heard of them before? So Life Plus. I'm going to try to do this quickly. A holistic wellness company. What does that mean? It means the whole person, right? It's not just physical health, it's mental health. It's becoming better in your relationships. It's the whole thing that I've talked about before. That's what holistic wellness truly is. We are a very unique company. We're based out of Batesville, Arkansas. We are in March or in April, we will be 32 years old as Life Plus, but the roots go back way, way, way longer. And by the way, I encourage you, if you're ever in that part of the country, or even if you just want to go there, go visit the company. They will welcome you. They will show you around. They'll show you the manufacturing, which will blow your mind. They'll show you the labs, also will blow your mind. I mean, it is quite an experience to see. But the roots go way deeper. So the company for decades manufactured for doctors. That's who they manufactured for. And they also private labeled a little bit for, companies that needed nutritional products. And so that's a little bit about who they are. I mean, it's just such a touch. There's plenty of stuff on the website about them, about the ingredients and the quality. And I encourage you to look at that, because most companies can't show you that. Why? Because most companies don't do that. Most companies don't make their stuff, and they certainly don't make it like these. And so why do they do it this way, right? Why do we use this unique, simple, honest referral approach where everybody buys at the same price and there's no sign-up fees and there's no, inventory or crazy requirements or anything like that? You can just deal with them as you would any other organization that's giving you a product and not requiring anything else. So the products are doctor quality, right? Except they're actually better than what most doctors have access to, because they're made and designed by an unbelievable practitioner. And I'm not going to talk about him on this, but you can learn all about him. The more you learn about him, the more you understand why what he makes is what goes in my family's body. And so what happened is, while they were making products for, practitioners all over the country, in the late 70s, they were private labeling for a company that was a direct sales company. And, that was, they didn't know anything about the business. They were just making the products. But that volume was growing because that company was growing. And as happens in a lot of entrepreneurial companies, those owners decided, well, we've had enough. We're out. We're going to take the money and run. And then they left all their distributors holding the bag, right? And so the distributors came the manufacturing, which was not called Life Plus at that point, and said, hey, these products are wonderful, and we've already got all these customers. We would like to continue doing what we're doing. Would you be our company? And they're like, well, we don't know anything about what you do. And they're like, look, you don't need to worry about what we do. If you could just make our products and, and pay our bonus checks, that's all you need to do. And so they figured out how to do that. And after a while, that ended up being a profitable venture. But during this process, they realized, it's pretty cool giving people opportunity and helping them to do better and be independent and make differences and changes in their life. And so ultimately that led to them thinking, we're going to open truly our own thing. And in 1992, they decided they wanted to open and create something that nobody had ever seen before. And you still can't find anything like this, to my knowledge, and create something that was completely fair, completely honest, completely free of all risk and fees, and no sign-up fees or renewal fees or web fees didn't even matter back then, but they have since. Not requiring people to inventory product, where they held all the risk and just allowed people to go out and freely tell people about them and then pay them for doing that. And so they created this unique, incredible model in 1992, and nobody thought it could work. I mean, how can that work? That's not what happens, right? Manufacturers don't do that. That goes against all economic sense. But their mentality was, you know what? There's a lot of nice people out there. And so we want to create something for nice people. And we'll support that. And so billions of dollars in aggregate revenue later, here we are. And not just that. To give you an idea about the heart of the company, we have a foundation. That foundation is totally underwritten by the company. In other words, 100% of the donations that go into that foundation go directly to the causes. And as a result of the work of the foundation in the last dozen years, 500,000 people in Kenya who did not have fresh water in their villages. Now imagine that. Next time you go to turn on your spigot, imagine if you couldn't. Imagine if you couldn't take a shower, that if you needed to get water, you had to take a bucket and walk 5 miles to a hole in the ground that animals go to and scoop it out and take it home and boil it, and that was your water, where your children couldn't even go to school. They did that just because they care to create the vehicle, and all of those donations for them, well, I shouldn't say all, the majority of the donations that have made that happen have come through the field from people just like you and me, right? That's what's 500,000 people. Imagine that impact. And the company totally underwrites that. And they don't do it for a claim. Nobody knows. They just do it. It's the heart of the company. They don't say our whole model is about helping others to help ourselves. They don't say that, but if you look at it, that's clearly what it is. Anybody else would do that. They'd be marketing it, right? But that's not who this company is. And so if the company's so good, and it is my contention that there's few things as good as this, how come you never heard of them before? I think that's a very fair question. So allow me to give you a little bit of insight on that. You see, when the company started in 1992, they began to have a little traction after a little while. It was a very, very rough start, took a little while, and finally they had a couple of people that caught a little bit of the glimmer of the vision, and they began spreading the words, and people learned about the products, and they're like, oh my gosh, these are incredible products. I'm going to use these products. And they started to get some foothold and do some business in the United States. But late in the 90s, they were getting orders because something called the internet happened, and they had a website, even though it was like not a very good website, but it was still something someone could access. And people were starting to order the products from Europe. Well, shipping products from the United States to Europe, that doesn't work very well. So they opened a little office in England. And some people in Germany found out about the products. And the German population in general is very, very big on quality. And they are very big on ethics. And they saw this and they said, oh my gosh, this is one of the best things we've ever seen. It's very difficult for companies from the United States to be successful in Germany because everything around you, and you know this to be true, is hype, 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 hype. And then when you get down in there, you're like, ugh, We're the opposite. I mean, we look better now on the surface than we used to, but it's always been. If you looked into us, the more you look, the more you're like, oh my gosh, this is an incredible thing. And so Germany started to happen, and the company didn't have anything in place. And so it required all their resources to go do Germany. They just let the States be because there was some business going on here, but it was a crazy time in the United States in the late 90s, early 2000s. I know I was there. I was involved. I helped actually get Germany off the ground, and it's been a very rewarding experience for me. And so essentially right around the time that they were starting to have discussions about, okay, let's start thinking about the US market, the German field introduced the metabolic reset program in 2014 that was put together by some practitioners in the field. And the company went into critical mass growth and exploded over the next 5 years. And so hundreds of thousands of people were doing this program with no marketing, by the way, just people telling people because of the results that they were getting. And so it wasn't until April of it was this January of last year, 2023, when we actually had a website for the first time in the United States that you could send someone to and they could place an order easily. That's the first time. And so April of 23 is when this community actually began to work. And so you are looking at something at the very early stages, because this is not a question, right? If you look at an economic bell curve, right, of how businesses, companies, products, etc., go into markets, it's a 5-stage process. There's always innovation, which is where all the great risk is, and very few people are interested to take a stab at being involved in something they've never heard of. And then you have the early adopter phase, which is where, okay, now it's been around for a year or two and people are saying, oh, this is pretty good. It's a little bit of a whispering. And so more and more people start to use the product or service. And then you get the early majority. And that's a big, those other two are bigger waves of growth. And then that bell curve starts to go down a little bit. That doesn't mean the market is shrinking. It's just it's a demonstration of how 100% of people find out about a marketplace or an opportunity or a product or whatever, or a service. And then you have the late majority and the laggards. We have a very unique situation from a community development standpoint in the United States, in that from a market penetration perspective, we're just barely an innovation. But from a proof perspective, we're as far along the curve as you want, because the company is extremely successful and well-funded and has all the assets in place, right? And so what we do clearly works. It's only a matter now of who's going to participate as we grow. And we've had wonderful results in the last 9 months, but we're just getting started. And to give you some understanding of what that means, in Europe alone, there's about 100,000 community builders. That's just not people who are using the products, but those are people that are purposefully sharing with others. 100,000 in the United States. Well, you could put all of them right now in my living room. That'll tell you how many there are. It's just a matter of time. And that is just a fact. All right. So the last thing I'm going to share is our community menu. All right, what you have to choose from if you'd like. So first, and again, it goes right along the lines of health, relationships, and community, and then whatever you want to do to help your career or your finances or whatever. So you have the health, right? That part. The best place you can start from a health perspective is the MR program, right? Because it transforms, right? It actually transforms and changes the trajectory of someone's health in a relatively short window, and dramatically over time helps someone reduce the risk of those 4 horsemen that I mentioned earlier. Not to mention, right, people get the surface results that they really like, right, which is to look better. I'm after feel better because I know how important that is. When you feel better, you do better. And so as a shopper, someone who's just using that, you are welcome in our community. We're happy to have you, and we'll serve you the best we can. If you want to join also our Facebook community, then you can participate from the standpoint of the learning, because you also can get on the email list and have access to the learning. And again, the learning, if your participation with us is as a shopper using our products, we're grateful to have you and we want to help you in any way possible, then you get access to the personal development. I've only started some of the personal development training that I'm going to be providing and the professional development training that I'm going to be providing. You get the support, you get the positive vibe, you get the encouragement, you get all of that just because you've decided to partner with us for your health. I mean, that's, I don't know where else to get that. I mean, maybe there's somewhere else. I just don't know about it. And then the next layer is if you wanted to have your own free online shop, you already buy, as a shopper, you already buy your products at the same price I do and anybody else does, right? But as a member, right, you get, which is a click of a button. It's not an extra fee. It's nothing except you get to set up your own online shop. And then if you want to be a referring member, you can set your shop up and you can share what we have and help a few folks out and maybe make a few extra bucks or be able to get your own products for less because now you have a little cash flow coming in if you choose. And you also get the tax advantages because that qualifies as having your own home business, even though it doesn't feel like one because you don't have any of the stuff that's usually associated with a business. You don't have the paperwork, the administrative stuff, nothing. You don't have any of it. The company tracks all that stuff. And you get 25% of the point value of whatever someone orders through your shop. That's available to you if you'd like. And then the next layer of that is a little more purposeful, right? So the next layer of that is being a purposeful community builder, someone who wants to build their own community of shoppers and really make a difference for, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 people, however many people you want. I mean, which is obviously the free online shop is a great companion for anything that you do. If you have any sort of little gig that you have, or maybe you have your own little business of some sort, or it works for everything. It can work for a nonprofit. It's a beautifully and simplistic tool. But if you're more purposeful, then you can create, a little more sustainable long run income. Maybe an extra $400 or $500 or $700 or $800 a month. It just depends, right? Depends on what you want to do with it. You're only sharing, right? You're sharing something that you believe in, that's helped you, and people are ordering direct from the company through your shop. They're dealing direct with the company. You don't handle anybody's money. And if they don't like the products, they can send it back to the company. They deal with the company. You don't have to do any of that. And so it's very, 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 very consumer friendly in every single aspect. And then if you want to be more purposeful, right? Now you say, what, I'd really like to maybe catch up on my retirement account, or I'd really like to create, a maybe 4-figure type income in a month, then you would want to maybe build a team, right? And we teach you how to do all that. But again, it's no extra thing out of your pocket. it's just because you're evolving to that. That's what you want. And so we will serve you in doing that. And then you can make a very, very serious impact, right? I mean, I have people who have been a part of my community for 20 years and haven't been active in several years, and they're still making $10,000 or $15,000 a year. I mean, that's crazy because that's how sustainable this is because of the quality of the product. And then the next layer is for people that really want to make game-changing kind of income. And every single one of these layers is just about effort and desire and willingness, just like anything else in life that you would want to accomplish or achieve. But somebody wants to build a team and then mentor the people in that team who want to build a bigger thing. They have no limit. There's no limit. And that no one has an advantage over anyone else. The individual that introduced me many, many years ago, I out-earned that individual by thousands of times because I built it, and that's the beauty of it. It's yours. But you wouldn't be doing it by yourself. You'd be doing it for yourself and the people you care about, but not by yourself because of our community support. And so that layer is for people who want more choices, right? Who want more freedom, who want to design specifically the kind of life they want, or work their way to a situation where they can dedicate themselves completely to a purpose or a cause or whatever. I mean, it's you can do whatever you want. It will just take time and energy and consistency. That's all accomplishment takes. It doesn't take super genes. It doesn't take super talent. I have none of those. And so just to give you a little perspective, there's no risk. It's very simple to work. It is a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, it's fun. It's so fulfilling to help people and to get back, to get, there's no paycheck I'll ever get that means more to me than when someone tells me how much better their life is. I mean, that is just it's such an amazing thing. You'll get free training, mentoring, coaching. It's flexible, it's portable, it's sustainable. I mean, again, my story is long, but there's incredible stuff in there that can help you understand that, and accessible. And I'm happy to share it with anyone who wants to talk to me about it. So the bottom line is, we would love it if you want to help us expand the community, whether you're doing that as someone who just loves the products and just tells one of your friends, hey, you should meet these people and learn about these products, and refers them to the person who's helping you, or whether you join us as a referring member, or whether you want to really, dive in a little bit and see what you could do, because we will serve you at whatever level you aspire to. I never try to make someone do anything. I just don't believe in that. I mean, I believe in supporting people who are trying to do better, and that's where my energy goes. And so I don't tell someone what they should do, because I don't like someone telling me what to do. But make sure you take the time to talk to whoever invited you and learn whatever you need to learn. Everything I talked about, the deeper details are available to you. I wasn't going to bore you with some kind of slideshow or dog and pony show and show you a whole bunch of stuff, because I'm not into convincing anybody. I, I, I like to work with people who are volunteering to do better in life. So I'm grateful you took the time to be here tonight, and I hope you found this of value. And again, get in touch with whoever, shared the registration link with you, and get your questions answered. And if you want to talk to me, just tell them, hey, I want to talk to that guy. And I'm happy to help. All right. Thanks again for being here. I will stay on. And if anyone wants to throw some questions at me in the chat, feel free. But if not, those of you who want to go, thank you again. Have a good night.